Good afternoon, fellow photographers. My name is Jeff, and I'm coming to you again from my Jeff Cave over here in Miami Beach. I tell you my town anyway, because if you do follow me on Instagram, which is if you would like to look up some of my photographs that I've taken and short videos, the Instagram handle is JSWCAT1. So JSWCAT and the number 1. But I have that, pinned to most of the photographs I take because I basically tend to walk around this area and document what I see. I call it, kind of like urbanization as far as the wildlife is concerned, urban wildlife, and various sports that I come across. But I like doing quite a few of the kiteboarding sessions that, happen out here on the beach as well. But that's how I enjoy my photography. Now, of course, some days, you kind of wake up and you go like, do I really want to go out and take photographs? Everybody has days like that. But I tell you what, if you don't go out, you might miss something. And of course, if you go out, might not be anything that happens. But at least you're getting some exercise at the same time, because I always walk, just like anything. If you're, riding a bike or going on a, electric scooter, any type of transportation, one, hopefully you're paying attention to, where you're going at that rate of speed on. But two, you're not going to see as much, obviously, than, if you're walking. I mean, that's obvious to most people. Now, I do have a workflow that I utilize when I do that. Other than taking pictures, I do have the OM-1, which you can see right behind me here. Now you can see it right behind me, probably a little bit better. But again, it has the two SD2 cards, and basically I have one for writing photos to and the other one for movies. So I like to keep them independent, so when I'm going to be, uploading them, that I have an idea of what's on each card, but also my workflow is a little bit different for each of those. So what I do before I take the cards out of the camera, I go through them on the back of the camera itself and basically notate which ones I want to keep. There's that little, key button, which is just to the right of the viewfinder, which you can prioritize that photo. So I'll go through, as an example, probably 1,000 to 1,300 pictures I'll take when I'm doing a kiteboarding session, because some of them, are in the SH2 mode, or they could be just in the, the high frame rate mode. And, a lot of them are going to be similar. So basically, I just look at the ones that have the best balance to my eye. Also, of course, clarity, focus, that type of thing. So the ones that I'll prioritize, of course, are going to be kept in the SD card itself. And the same thing with the movies, the films, the videos. I like to shoot a lot in the 240 frames per second for several reasons. One, it really looks nice when the motion is slowed down, but it's also a lot easier to focus, or not focus, but follow, especially if you're taking, fast action. But I'll do the same on that card as well. And what I'll do on each of those cards before I take them out of the camera is I will trash everything else that I'm not keeping. And I know some people go like, oh, you better keep them. You never know what you're gonna pass up. Well, I do go through them again just to make sure that I picked out the ones that I want and need, and to make sure I haven't missed any. So it's a process of going through them once, prioritizing the ones I want to keep, going through it again just to make sure, and then I'll trash the ones that I don't need to put into processing. And the reason I do that is I do not have a laptop. I don't have a desktop. I don't have an iPad. I just have an iPhone, okay, which is recording me right now, an iPhone 14 Pro. So what I do, I use a little dongle. Let me get it out here. Excuse me, I should have had this ready. Get in my little photographic drawer here. Okay, and this is an SD card reader, which goes into the bottom of the iPhone with the lightning cable. So I just stick the SD card in there and upload the photos into my iPhone. It makes it very handy to use, especially if you're, not in a place where you can do it easily, or if you're mobile and you can do your editing on your iPhone, which I do quite handily with the Photoshop Express, or you can even use iPhoto, which is very handy in most instances. But I find the Photoshop Express, of course, you can do a lot more with, especially, taking shadows out of the primary subject, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I find that's very beneficial for me. I don't have to invest in a lot of different other equipment. I think that's one of the purposes behind getting the Olympus system, being lightweight, portable, and why not be the same way with the equipment that you're going to be editing your photos on, if you want to edit them at all. Because I do shoot in RAW most of the time to get the most information that I can play with or edit with. I mean, you can shoot in in JPEG, and again, nothing wrong with that. But I do find I have more latitude, of course, with the RAW photos. But I find, again, that system works for me, so I just wanted to pass it along. You can see if it works for you, but I find it to be very convenient, inexpensive, and accessible. And, it's just me. I want to got my notes here. Keeps me in the flow. But of course, I watched, the new Nikon Z8 come out. And just like everything new and shiny, you're going like, ooh, ah, wow, that's a nice camera. And it is. I mean, it's a nice camera. But again, it just shows you how many features the Olympus OM-1 has in it and exceeds some of the features in the Nikon Z8. Of course, we're working with a 20-point megapixel sensor, micro four thirds versus full frame. But again, for all intents and purposes, you have a camera body which is 50% less in price, and in some instances does more or surpasses in the features that the Z8 does give you. My whole purpose of this comparison is to realize what you have in hand and look at some of the features you may not even know that are in there. I actually had to look back to find out that it has an intervalometer, probably not saying that correctly, but something where you can set up in the camera, like a, what do they call it, a time. I can't remember. Anyway, you can take pictures at specific intervals and put them together into a movie, per se. Now, I didn't know, I kind of knew that was in there, but I had to check to see if that was available. And, all the different art filters you have in there. Of course, you have the handheld iRes shot for 50 megapixels, or you can go high res for 80 megapixels if you want to use a tripod. All sorts of various things that are available, in the Olympus OM-1. And how much better can these cameras come out now, other than maybe toward the computational photography side, than what we already have? Of course, I could be proven wrong, just like everything else that, gets better maybe every 5 years or so. But in between those 5 years, there's really not a lot of difference. Just take, phones, for example. There's really not a big difference between the phones because most people only use them for a small number of things rather than everything that they can do. It's the same thing with cameras. How many features of a camera do you actually use? Okay? A lot of these are, for high-end professionals or sports photographers, if, people of that nature. So what you have in your hand most likely is an exceptional device that you can utilize to the best of your ability. So again, just something to think about. Again, I was a new and shiny guy. I'm not going to say I wasn't, especially when I was working, because I'm retired now, where you had sort of like justification to work so you can buy this thing or that thing or what have you. And that's kind of like a dead end road in most instances. It's like, you buy something, then you go like, oh, okay, well, that was a high for a little while. You get buyer's remorse or, whatever after the purchase. But I can still say with the Olympus system, I feel quite satisfied. I really do. And one thing that I want to stress on again is the glass that you buy with your camera, meaning your lenses. Now, the reason I say that, especially with the Olympus system, is the Pro lenses give you a lot of benefits that you might not realize. And some of them have specific things to do with the operation of the camera itself. So let's say if you want to use the SH2 mode, there's only about 4 or 5 Pro lenses that let you do that. Okay, did you know that? Yeah. And there's probably some other instances where that comes into effect as well. Now, of course, I like them because, of their build, the glass quality, durability, and especially with the OM-1, which has that IP53 rating, for dust and moisture resistance. I'm not going to call them waterproof. I probably did at one time, but, very few things are waterproof. But when you're shooting out on the beach and the salt water is, coming in off a spray from the ocean, you're going to get them on your lens, you're going to get them on the camera. At least it doesn't go inside because I always wipe them down anyway. But those things, are specific to what I do. So keep in mind those, what your factors are in your photographic work, okay, to see that you're not limiting yourself by maybe spending a few extra dollars here or there. And the one thing that, people are amazed at when, I give them my camera, go, oh, this is a Micro Four Thirds camera, it's the sensor's 25% of the full frame sensor. And they can't believe the pictures that come out of this camera because of the sharpness of the lenses as well. And you can see a couple behind me on the wall here. I call that my inspiration wall. So that's my one wall where I put up my 13 by 19 prints, which I have off an Epson printer. I think it's called the P700. But, it's amazing what you can do with this system. But the wall I have to look at because every time I get out of bed, it's right there. So those days that I kind of like go, do I want to go outside? Do I want to go take pictures? Even when it's raining, I can go out because, hey, we have an Olympus system. Rain, what's rain? Not a problem. But, down here in the Miami Beach area, in the summer, you don't want to go out in the afternoon. I don't care what you have with you. So that's why the golden hour is good in the morning and in the afternoon. But what is your inspiration to go outside or to take pictures? Mine is the wall, okay? Just reminds me of those pictures I might have missed if I didn't go out. So I always, try and keep that in mind. But I love photography. I love capturing things with the camera and having different modes to work with when I go out. Now, one thing I do is I don't shoot in color all the time. Maybe I'll go out and shoot black and white. Or maybe I'll go out and, shoot in one of the different modes that are in the art filter system of the Olympus itself. Or, time lapse. That's what that's called, time lapse photography using the intervalometer. Oh, I have to do that. I haven't done it with this camera yet. I've done it with the iPhone, but I haven't done it with the Olympus OM-1 yet. So that, again, something to look forward to. So just keep trying to think of different ways that you can, that you can use your equipment. Now, I do have one specific one in mind that I'm looking forward to at the end of this month, and that's the Air and Sea Show for Memorial Day weekend, which will be right here on the beach. I am stoked for that. I have the 40 to 150 Pro, the f2.8, and I also have the f4 300 millimeter with the extender. So I'm looking at, catching some nice images, and please be good weather for those 2 days, because I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope you have that same type of enthusiasm for something you may have coming up, or something that you want to plan and, utilize your talents for. But that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. If you like, please hit the like button. And if you like what I'm talking about, please subscribe, because I really like what I'm doing. And, just as a mention, I don't make money off of any manufacturer or anything related to what I'm talking about. I just buy my own stuff and let you know what my experience has been with what I've used. But again, thank you. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.